Good afternoon, welcome to VANIKIAS. We'll start discussing current affairs of 16th May. Okay, so first we'll discuss about India's approach global digital system to face pandemic challenges. Addressing G20, G7 health ministers meeting in Japan, Union Minister of Health India Mansukh Mandavia proposed the convergence of all digital initiatives through a global initiative through a global initiative on digital health housed at WHO headquarters. India's health minister states the need to collaborating global health architecture that can assure power of digital solution to all countries to combat challenges posed by future pandemic. So now the pandemic is almost over, but the thing is that we have to ready for the next pandemic because we have experienced highly devastated. This was a highly devastating experience. This pandemic was a highly devastating experience so far as economy, livelihood, and lives of people are concerned. And from developing to developed countries, huge number of people has died, and everybody has. It's a great failure of each and every country so far as the uh, so far as so far as the healthcare is concerned. That's why we have to be ready for the next pandemic. That's why WHO has also launched various initiatives. For example, recently it have started catch up initiative. Recently it has started PRET initiative. So various initiative is started by WHO. So to next pandemic, we have to ready for the next pandemic, and that need a collaborative global health architecture. Collaborative global health architecture means suppose one particular country is very strong in vaccines, so it must cooperate with other countries. Like India has started a vaccine Maitri, right? Vaccine Maitri, right? And some so requirements is different. So collaboration like technology transfer, cooperation, technology transfer, right? Transfer best practices, sharing best practices, how to deal with the future pandemics. These all those things are proposed in that is what is demanded by Indian Health Minister Mansukh Mandavia in the World WHO headquarter, right? Where there's initiative on digital health, and he has advocated that there should be convergence of all digital initiatives, because that will help better for policy making, and also that will be better for monitoring. He proposed the convergence of all digital initiatives through a global initiative on digital health. Global initiative on digital health. So digital initiative they should be together. For example, there is other time there is requirement of oxygen. Now, so if any country has surplus of oxygen, how to develop the supply chain management? This oxygen management to suppose sudden requirement of oxygen requirement occurs. So how to deal with it? Like India has in each district, India has established an oxygen plant. It's a good initiative so that in any time the requirement increases, we can also address the requirements by localized supply. Highlighting the case of COVID-19 vaccination program, the minister raised the concern that more than 2 years after vaccines were rolled out in 2020, only 34% of populations in low and medium income countries have access to them compared to 73rd of high income countries. So, yes. So, vaccination program is already So 34 population in lower income, middle income countries have access to that. But 73% of in high income countries they have access to vaccination. Right. That's why it's a big gap. So the lives of developing country are under threat or vulnerable. So in such a situation, it is the responsibility of the global big powers to make a equity situation so that the care of disadvantaged groups or developing countries or poor countries, the people are also safe with respect to it. So by collaborative approach, the vaccine, the pharmaceutical industry, the medicine industry, the vaccine industry that need to be strengthened. Health equity, especially when it comes to medical countermeasures such as diagnosis, drugs, and vaccines at the time of pandemic, is one of the three priority areas for India's health agenda for G20. Three priority areas. One is diagnostics, so that we can make the diagnosis proper by developing various equipments and drugs that is based on pharmaceutical industry. Then vaccines. How we can prevent the infection? Vaccine will prevent the making a infection serious infection, right? So health minister is one. So drugs is after getting infected. If a person is getting infected or severe things are happening, then that you can use drugs. Diagnostics means identifying the disease. You identify that this is COVID vaccine, this is a COVID disease or any other disease. So that will be done by diagnostics. Then by vaccines you can prevent these infections becoming severe inside your body. So Indian Health Minister is one of the fourth health minister from the on this outreach four countries. Outreach four countries are India, Indonesia, Vietnam, and Thailand inviting the meeting. These outreach four countries, that is India, Indonesia, Vietnam, and Thailand inviting to the meeting. What is digital health? Digital health refers to use of technology such as mobile devices, software applications, other digital tools to improve health and healthcare delivery. Digital health. What is this digital health? Mobile devices, for example, Arogya Setu, software applications, the other digital tools to improve healthcare and healthcare delivery. Suppose telemedicine, right? Telemedicine, e-hospitals type like right by video calling also diagnosis can be done. Basically, it is a multidisciplinary concept that includes concepts such as from an intersection between technology and healthcare. Intersection between technology and healthcare. How by application of technology you can provide healthcare to the remote areas or rural areas. Okay. It encompasses a wide range of technology and services. Various technologies and services will be there, including telemedicine, electronic health records, wearable devices, health information exchange, and more. Electronic health records. What is the benefit by electronic health records? The body of human being is extremely complex, right? Human body is extremely complex, and that's why it is very difficult to diagnosis. Diagnosis is the most difficult part. That is identifying the particular disease because different diseases can have the same symptoms. So identifying the particular disease that is possible by observing the health history of that particular person in past, which are the diseases he has faced, he or she has faced. That's why then that is electronic health records will help in diagnosis. Next is India's co-win portal, UNIF's Rapid Pro, Family Connect. Notable examples of digital health initiative by co-win portal. You can know that how many people has getting got suffered, or also you can book your vaccination in time in a hassle-free manner. Okay. The real-time information platform Rapid Pro is a core solution in UNICEF digital health portfolio. Real-time information platform Rapid Pro. UNICEF's Family Connect sends targeted life cycle based messages via SMS to pregnant women, new mothers, and households, etc. So, Family Connect these cycle based messages to create awareness about, because various false messages or false advices, unverified advices, unsecured advices is also getting promoted during the crisis. Various parts of forwards fake news are being promoted to create havoc, sometimes of different in wrong intentions. So in such a situation, this Family Connect or Arogya Setu, they provide accurate information and verified information and good medical advices. Okay, so this is right. Next is importance of digital health empowers patients. Digital tools are giving providers more holistic view of patients' healthcare through better access to data, giving patients more control over their health. Better access to data regarding your body. When you have huge number of access regarding your body, for example, you know that you have chances of the 20% chances that you will fall into diabetes. So obviously you will be careful for that. So it will help also treating the disease. Digital health will provide new option for facilitating prevention, because by various diseases you can say that okay, this may happen in the future. These are the trends in which diseases happens. So you can also work for the prevention, early diagnosis based on severity of the disease, because at late stage it will be very difficult to recover. Life-threatening diseases, management of chronic conditions outside traditional healthcare settings, chronic conditions, reduce inefficiencies, improve access, reduce cost, increase quality, make medicine more personalized for patients. Reduce inefficiencies, improve access, reduce cost, increase quality, and make medicine more personalized for patients. So, more personalized, because the doctors see your history, right? Doctors see the history and that becomes easy for diagnosis, and diagnosis will be more accurate. Then digital health is a great enabler of delivery of healthcare services and has the potential to support overall universal health coverage targets. Universal health coverage means providing quality healthcare services to all the citizens of India. This is because it can ensure availability, accessibility, affordability, and equity of health services. Right, availability, because when by application of technology, the treatments is become treatment cost is become will become less. Right, accessibility. For example, telemedicine. You can directly talk with the doctors by telemedicine, and you can also whatever is required you can do by or you can express your requirement by sending the telemedicines by consulting the doctor via online. Next, this is because it can ensure next is equitable access, universalization digital health, and enabling equitable access to healthcare services across the world, particularly low and middle income countries, is challenging. In case of low and middle income countries, it is challenging because there is lack of resources, there is lack of medical infrastructure, lack of doctors. In these situations, it is very difficult. The issue of accessibility becomes more daunting against backdrop of low digital literacy and low level of internet penetration. Low digital literacy and low level of internet penetration. People have low digital literacy at present, that is also in rural areas, especially among the disadvantaged communities. The digital literacy is less. Low level of internet penetration is also a factor. Hardly we are successful covering 45% of our villages. Ethical challenges related to privacy, security, and data ownership, that is also because at recent data is highly misused. Data is the new oil, so there are obviously privacy issues. Many times there are financial frauds. So and various ways this your data can be misused. So these ethical challenges also emerge. Right, Parliament has not passed the data protection bill yet. The increasing digitalization of healthcare and the growth of mobile and IoT devices as data collection tools raises many ethical issues. Okay. Digitalization of healthcare and growth of mobile and IoT devices. When data collection increases, the data become vulnerable. Okay. Analysts also raise ethical concerns related to data ownership. Ethical challenges related to regulation of digital health technologies. Regulation of digital health technology. That is ethical challenges. The economics of a climate change in India. Over the past few weeks and months, there have been several stories about how extreme weather events such as unexpected rainfall, unusually high temperatures have disrupted normal life in India. Economics of climate change, right? Unusual rainfall, and this is also constant reminder that more or the of the same can be expected on each passing year. To be sure, Global Climate Risk Index 2021 had ranked India 7th in the list of the most affected countries. So India is, yes. So India is facing huge problems regarding because of climate change, because of various every year India is experiencing different type of cyclones, unseasonal rains, and various weather disruptions. And India is most affected countries, right? Our rank is 7 and among the most affected countries. Because India is suffering earthquake, we have huge earthquake tragedy and various cyclone like in Odisha 1999 cyclone. So every year we are witnessing cyclone. Recently, cyclone Mocha has also created huge amount of destruction in case of Myanmar and those coastal areas. So it's always a risk. Next is in latest report of current state finance RBI has a chapter dedicated to answering many questions and explaining the macroeconomic effects of climate change in India. So because of climate change, if there is cyclone is occurring and because of cyclone, the supply chain disturbance occurs, the consumer pattern changes. So there will be huge economic loss to the state government and the national government as well. So cyclone results into huge economic loss. Its latest report, Currency and Finance, next is what is the evidence of climate change? The most obvious sign of climate change is that anomalies in temperature and precipitation. Yes. The anomalies of temperature, precipitation, rain and snow, etc. There is anomalies. That means so the during the time of rainy season it is not rainy season, or there will be unseasonal rains. There is a fixed time of rain. Rain has become highly unpredictable. The 12% rainfall as percent is reduced. So this is the evidence. Next is anomaly in precipitation. Right? Sometimes yes, anomalies in temperature. In some areas temperature is becoming very high in urban areas also, especially temperature is becoming very high. So there is such type of anomalies we see. We see that different changes in the in the seasons. For example, the summer season has dominated all other seasons, right? So this is called as this is evidence of climate change. Annual average of temperature in India has been increasing gradually. The rise has been significantly sharper during the biennial 20 years during any period of 20-year time in interval since 1901 finds RBI paper. So annual average of temperature is increasing. Okay, in last 20 years, the annual average of temperature is increasing. Next, what is the evidence of climate change? We have already discussed that. Next topic is similarly southwest monsoon. In case of southwest monsoon, it has become erratic. So what is the problem with erratic rainfall? We cannot the because when we to plant seeds, when to start agriculture, This is particular timing, right? When we have 50%, more than 50% of our land are independent, are dependent on rainfall. So whenever rainfall pattern changes, the agriculture delayed, and delayed agriculture affect the productivity of agriculture, right? Notably, while the average annual rainfall during the last decennial, that is 2000 to 2020, so rise over that during 1960-1999 over a long period of time horizon, annual average rainfall in India is gradual decline. So in last 20 years, the rainfall pattern has increased, but before that it has decreased. Research on natural disasters since 1990 has shown that India is relatively more exposed to flood and storms than droughts and heat waves. Such incidents pose a significant risk to agricultural production and food prices volatility. Food prices volatility. So cyclone and hailstorms are now more rather than droughts and heat waves. And when drought occurs, it increases the food prices. Food prices means the per kg tomato will be, because for example 100 rupees. So poor will consume less tomato or will not consume at all. Then how vulnerable is India to climate change? There are two ways to analyze this. One by looking at India's geographical attributes and the other by looking structure of the Indian economy. Geographical attributes and structure of Indian economy. India's diverse topography is not only exposed to different temperature and precipitation patterns, but also make it vulnerable to extreme weather events, posing wide ranging of spatial and temporal implications for the economy. So we have a diverse topography and different temperature precipitation patterns, and that makes extreme weather events that hamper the agricultural production and implication on economy, because various spatial distribution of rainfall occurs, and based on that it is very difficult to start agriculture based on rainfall, and as a developing country we do not have our irrigation system covering the whole India. Indian economic structure has undergone considerable change since independence, such as bulk of economic activity now happens in service sector. Now the role of service sector is highest as compared to manufacturing sector. More than 55% of our GDP is coming from service sector. In agriculture and allied sectors, the share is very low, even less than 20%, right? Less than 16% agriculture and allied sectors. There is significant implications of carbon emissions because services are globally considered to be emission light and relatively low energy intensity output as compared to manufacturing. Sectoral breakup shows that metal industries, electricity, transports are the highest emission intensive sectors, together accounting around 9% of the total GVA, gross value added. Okay. In other words, its sectoral composition of Indian economy helps to reduce the carbon emission. However, notwithstanding this, fossil fuels are overwhelming largely in India's primary energy contribution. So, individual, you have to address individually. For example, we have shifted from BS4 to BS6 directly. BS6 engine we have shifted from directly, right? So this will bring a change. For example, liquid urea. So climate change risk is maximum in third desert, that is heat waves. In case of that is in heat waves in third desert, we can see. Then great Himalayas like cloud burst, melting of glaciers, landslides in the Great Himalaya region. These are the region where cloud burst, where these things can happen maximum. Then Indo-Gangetic plains, there is river floods, heat waves, and thunderstorm. River floods, heat wave, and thunderstorm in the Indo-Gangetic uh, plains. Then Central Peninsula Plateau, it is heat waves, forest droughts. Then Central plains and Ghats, cyclones, landslide, these things this occurs in these regions. Every year we have cyclone and floods or one flood. Okay, or one flood is because there is no proper channelization of the wastewater or rainwater. These are non-fossil fuel and these are fossil fuel. You can see that is it is increasing. The share of fossil fuel is increasing, but it is very minimal. So we have to increase the fossil fuel share. So you have to increase the non increase the renewable energy share. What is the macroeconomic impact of climate change in India? Climate change can adversely impact both the supply side as well as the demand side or the consumer side. It can stoke inflation, reduce economic output, trigger uncertainty, change the consumer behavior during the climate change and during the cyclone or any such natural disasters. Over the years, there have been several prediction assessments made about the impact of climate change in India's economy and what are the impact. According to Nitya 2019, around 600 million Indian population are facing severe water stress. Severe water stress. 6 million Indian population. World Bank 2020 said that India could account 34 million of projected 80 billion of global job losses from the heat stress associated with productivity decline 2030. So 34 billion of the projected 80 billion global job losses that may happen by 2030. So jobless is occurring like because of climate change. IPCC working 2020 says that India is one of the most vulnerable countries globally in terms of population that it is affected by the sea level rise. By the middle of the present country, around 35 million of people in India could face annual coastal flooding, with 45 to 50 million risk by the end of the century. 45 to 50 million risk by the end of the century. So on 50, 45 to 50 million people will be affected by the climate change. Right. Recently, Odisha government is rehabilitating those affected village because of climate change. Which village has undergone into the sea. Typical the risk of climate change is categorized into two main ways. One is the physical risk, and these include chronic issues, for example, sustained change in temperature and precipitation, as well as acute events like extreme weather occurrences. Two things: the normal temperature, normal pressure changes, the normal rainfall changes. This is also one impact of climate change. Another change is catastrophic destruction. For example, weather occurrences. For example, cyclone, flood, rainfall, huge rainfall. These things are this is what we uh, mean by chronic issues. Then the second category risk are called as transition risks. For example, simply put, with refers to economy, wide range of high rising transition towards the low carbon economy. Now we are moving towards low carbon economy. If the shift towards becoming low carbon economy is too rapid, then it could materially damage the country's financial stability. Because in case of raw new renewable energy, we are also utilizing, because at least in the national level, we are utilizing huge amount of resources in the new renewable energy, right? And that may also create a issue for financial stability of the country. Next, so can policy offer some solution? National Center for Banks and Supervisors Greening Financial System have been created an analytical framework called as National Institute of Global Electronic Model (NIGEM), National Institution of Global Electronic Model. In this model, researchers looked into how GDP growth rate and inflation would be affected under six different policy stances when compared to the baseline, involving no impact on the climate change. Right. So, how it will show the climate change occurs? Just a second. Okay. Next question. Next. So, is there any solution? Policy actions may have a negative impact on India's GDP, no matter what. However, global scenario current policies, national determined contributions have highest negative impact on output. Whereas rapidly moving towards net zero 2050 will contain a hit to GDP. Moving towards the net zero by 2050 will spike inflation far more in the immediate future than containing the current policies. So, what does it mean? Basically, we have NDC, that is National Determined Commitments. We have made certain commitments in the Glasgow Summit of Climate Change, and because of that, we have to make certain policies. Suppose aggressively we'll move towards the solar energy. That investment in case of solar energy is very huge. Public investment will be very huge, so obviously that will lead to inflation. And also, as the technology is not so developed, so what will happen? If technology is not so developed, the prices of energy will go off. And as the efficiency of, if you compare the efficiency of traditional fuel to biodiesel or biofuel, the efficiency of biofuel is less. So these are the various reasons why we should not move aggressively towards net carbon neutrality. We will have to move towards 2070 as a private carbon neutrality as we have determined. Otherwise, it will hamper our economic pulses or economic targets. Overall, the trade-offs will become sharper as India tries to achieve the twin goals of achieving net zero emissions by 2070. India has a target of achieving net zero emissions by 2070 and becoming an advanced economy, right? So, whenever you focus on economic development, obviously environmental development will suffer, because if you are going for industrialization, obviously there will be pollution. Right, industrialization will lead to purchase of various goods and various vehicles, and people will use various vehicles, and that will all lead to industrial pollution. So it will be very difficult to achieve the net carbon neutrality by 2070. So the twin goals we have to, at the same time, we have to achieve the economic power status, and also we have to reduce the emissions. Okay. Appointment CBI director. The Karnataka Director General Police Pravin Sood will be the next CBI. Pravin Sood will be the next CBI. Okay. Investigation Director. About CBI. CBI was established as a special police established in 1941 to investigate cases of corruption. Yes, where it established? Established according to Special Police Establishment Act in 1941. Right. This is how CBI, from this is the law at which from which CBI gets its power. It is based on Santhanam Committee. CBI is based on Santhanam Committee on prevention of corruption recommended the establishment of CBI. CBI formalized Resolution of Home Affairs in 1963. So actual start of is 1963. The Ministry of Personnel later on took over the responsibility. So now CBI is under Ministry of Personnel. It plays a role in the attached to the office. So Ministry of Personnel, so CBI is getting funds from Ministry of Personnel. It derives its power from Delhi Special Police Establishment Act 1946. Right, CBI gets its power from Delhi Special Police Establishment Act 1976, 1946. It is also a nodal police agency in India which coordinates investigation on half of the Interpol member countries. Half of the Interpol member countries. So coordinate investigation on behalf of half of the Interpol member countries. So it is the agency of Interpol in India. Okay. The motto is industry impartiality and integrity. Nodal ministry is Ministry of Personnel, Public Relations and Pensions. This is right. For investigation of offences under Prevention of Corruption Act, CBI West Superintendents West CBI West Superintendents to Central Vigilance Commission. So how it is appointed? CBI is headed by director, obviously is assisted by special additional director. Central government appoint director on the recommendation of three members, that is Prime Minister or Chairman, Leader of Opposition, and Chief Justice of India. These people jointly they will appoint a CY director. Okay. CY director has been provided security of 2 year tenure in office while Chief Finance Commissioner 2003. So they have security of tenure so that they can function impartially. They will not fear the central government. Right. In Paralakhamundi Railways, light railways. What is this Paralakhamundi light railways? In Indian Railway, taken up renovation of historic Paralakhamundi railway station. It's India's oldest and India's oldest and fast in Odisha's Gajapati district. India's oldest railway station is Paralakhamundi railway station. However, there are concerns that 124 old station might be demolished or to pave way for new structures. But it will be demolished because it is very old and the infrastructure is very old, or that may be very difficult. Experts have raised red flags and sought heritage status for the structure. Some structure heritage, let's say they have still as a heritage status. It's a old heritage status. They have asked for it. Recent developments and intact demand. In 2011, Railway Ministry had sanctioned a plan to upgrade the 90 km Nuapada Gonpur via Palakkad narrow gauge line to broad gauge, which will allow the operation of more trains on route and facilitate hassle-free traffic. It will also develop new station building on a raised platform for the benefit of passengers. New station building on a raised platform for the benefit of passengers. Carried out safety-related modernization works, including building on electronic interlocking system at the station. However, Indian National Trust for Art and Culture Heritage intact. Indian National Trust for Art and Culture Heritage, non-profit working heritage conservation awareness, has argued that old structure must be preserved. According to intact, the structure is in good shape and does not need further work, which would undermine the tremendous historical value. And it is good shape. It has said that it's a good shape and do not need any further work. So that will hamper the historical value. So it should not be changed because it's one type of heritage. Thus, it is demanded a railway station preservation of heritage building along with the restoration of ancillary buildings like old station masters building, which intact wants to convert a museum. Right. Next, about PLR. Nuapada, a small town in is now in Andhra Pradesh. Nuapada got rail lines in 1894 as a part of construction to Kotak Khurda railway line extending to Vijayawada. The then Maharaja Padakhamundi, now it is Padakhamundi, Gorachandra Gajapati Dharana Dev, conceived an idea to connect his capital with the main line in an effort to strengthen his communication network. After receiving a note from the British authorities, he built 30-kilometer rail line by spending around 7 lakh from the royal coffers. So he has spent his own money of 7 lakh for developing communication from Paralakkamundi to the railway lines. The 2 foot 6 inch narrow gauge line was completed in 1899 and opened for traffic in 1900. In January 1902, with British government changing its policy, Bengal Nagpur Railway (BNR), Bengal Nagpur Railway took over PLR along with operational charge of railway operations between Vizianagaram, now Andhra Pradesh to Cuttack. So after that it started Palakkad Railway. So it is started by the funds of Gaurachandra Gajapati Narayan II. PLR has incurred initial losses. It has gradually started to make profits after 1910. The profit from the line encouraged Krishnachandra Gajapati, his successor of Palakkad state, to take a further expansion line to Guntur, the southern part of the state, by 1930. Guntur is now in Andhra Pradesh. Samudra Shakti 23. What is Samudra Shakti? INS Karavati. Indigenously designed built ASW Corbett arrived Batam by Indonesia to participate in 4th edition of India in Indonesia bilateral naval exercise, that is Samudra Shakti. So it is between India and Indonesia. It is INS Kavarati. It is indigenously designed ASW Corbett, that is arrived at Batam, Indonesia. Will pass. So it's Samudra Shakti is a military exercise between naval exercise between India and Indonesia. An Indian and Navy Dornier maritime patrol aircraft. Should say maritime patrol aircraft. A Chetak helicopter also participating. Indian Navy will also represent the KRE Sultan Iskandar Murda, that is CN 235 maritime patrol aircraft, and this Panther helicopter AS 56 Panther helicopter. So this will be also presented in the event. Exercise Samudra is aimed at enhancing interoperability, jointness, mutual cooperation between both the navies. Interoperability, mutual cooperation, right? Sharing of expertise. This will be there. In case of any common threat, they can also fight by collaboration. Harbour phase will comprise cross-deck visits, professional interactions, subject matter expert changes, and sport fixtures. So there will be various exercises. Okay. During sea phase, weapon firing, helicopter operations, anti-submarine warfare, air defense exercises, boarding operations are planned. Samudra Shakti 23 will showcase high level of interoperability. Samudra Shakti 23 will showcase high level of interoperability between the two navies and their shared commitment towards peace and stability in the region. So, what is Satpusha Sanctuary? It's over home to over 200 elephants. Satkosia Sanctuary houses about 20-25 jumbos are present, raising coastal migration patterns of long-range animals. Jumbos means those who are moving here and there, right? So Satkosia owes its name to narrow stretch of river Mahanadi, that is South Coast, 7 coasts, in the state of Odisha. It is been recognized as critical tiger habitat by National Tiger Conservation Authority (NTCA). It's very dense forest. Satkosia tiger reserve comprises two adjoining sanctuaries, Central Odisha named as Satkosia Gorge Sanctuary and Baishipali Sanctuary. Baishipali Sanctuary. Two sanctuaries together covering an area of 963 square kilometer have notified as Satkosia tiger reserve. Okay. Flora. It is home to diverse range of flora, including dry deciduous forests, moist deciduous forests, tropical moist forests. Sanctuary is known as sal forest. So the diverse species are there. Elephant, tigers, leopards, wild dogs, sloth bears, goats, sambar deer, spotted deer. These are the fauna of Satkosia Tiger Reserve. Okay. Now try to write this question, that is, if Tupi is internationalized, then India will truly become self-reliant. How can we international rupee? By exchanging with other countries, by sharing, by we are now developing our trade by cooperation with other countries in case of like barter system rather than depending or currency swap agreement. By signing various currency swap agreement, uh, we can by using Indian rupee, we are also making trades. That is why we are subversion. We are making subversion in the trade questions. For example, we are not using dollar, so rupees no the reduction of gradually rupee is becoming weakened in front of dollar. So this problem will not happen. RBI's move was aimed at facilitating bilateral trade with Russia, was facing sanctions from USA. So we are not using dollar, so we have started barter system like that. We can exchange currency swap agreement. So interest of settlement of Indian rupee, it's a mechanism, right? RBI has introduced a mechanism of international settlement of trade in Indian rupee. Okay. So what is international rupee? You can write answers. And what is need for international rupee, because it is becoming weakening. We have stable rupee, then it will enhance the credibility of Indian economy. So the lectures end here, and like this video and share and subscribe to VANIK-IAS. Thank you.